Paul is here once more, and today we have part 3 of what seems to be an endless amount of pick reviews. I just have a lot of picks to talk about, alright guys? So today's feature will be 3 picks from Dragon's Heart picks, as well as a Dunlop Jazz 3 Ultex pick. So let's get started with these Dragonheart picks and get into them a bit. So the first one we're going to talk about here is the darkest colored Dragon's Heart pick. This one is made with 30% glass fiber filling, and the rest of it is polyamide amide. I don't know exactly what that means. Sounds like a fancy material, and it's described to have the brightest tone. And so for this review I am using my Parker Fly here because it's one of the most transparent guitars in terms of what you hear and what you get in terms of the pickups. And so let's hear it. I'm on Piezo and magnetic, and let's hear what brightness sounds like. So it is quite bright, I have to say, and it's definitely the most firm feeling Dragon's Heart pick, as well as the heaviest, which is interesting to note. So, what's so special about these things? Well, they've got 3 different tips here. This is definitely a rounded tip, a pointed tip, and kind of you're in between both. And you would think that that bevel could provide a lot of chirp, and I'm certain that it does, but it isn't a hilarious amount of chirp. So, meaning to say it feels more like a regular guitar pick when you're playing it on the more recognizable guitar pick pointed kind of end here. But this supremely pointed end is definitely a little bit more difficult to get used to, just because the shape of the pick is so odd, but it definitely has its own metal kind of characteristics, and it still feels extremely tough, which is really good. I don't like a very brittle feeling pick. That's why I have a lot of really thick, juicy sons of... So let's stick on the clean channel here. I'll play some melodic kind of stuff with the pointed end, and let's hear how it sounds. Definitely has a different attack, way snappier, and this is where the brightness is really showing. It's a very attack pick, which is really nice. I like that. I like attack picks. It allows you to really be expressive with what you're doing. So, moving on to the rounded edge, let's hear some more chordal stuff. So there is still a brightness to it, which is kind of surprising. But again, the Parker is a bit more of a brighter guitar, so this is about as bright as you can get without getting some really, really bright sounding pickups in there as well. It responds very well to Piezo, and I do enjoy using these with the Piezo on this specific guitar, just because it really sounds alive and almost like extremely there and present. I think that's the biggest thing to denote. So now we're going to move on to the next 2 here. So this next Dragon's Heart pick is 12% of the glass filling, and the rest of it is polyamide amide, and it's described as the fastest action. Now I'm not entirely sure what that means, but let's just figure it out a little bit. I'm gonna switch now to a distortion channel so that we can change up the kind of feeling, and I'll riff a little bit, and I will be trying this rounded curve thing for a few chords, because it might not make too much sense, but it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of feeling or tonal difference. So this is on the Friedman HE kind of tonality. I'm on the bridge pickup here in this Parker. It's got DiMarzio's in it. So let's hear what it sounds like with the regular tip. definitely feels like a really fast guitar pick in a way that it just doesn't feel like an irregular shape. It doesn't feel like it's a pick that's been handmade. It doesn't feel like anything out of the ordinary. And there's a certain confidence with thick picks that I enjoy. So basically, from what I've understood with these picks is, it'll allow you to play as if you have a regular good old-fashioned 2-3 mil pick, which is good. I like the fact that you can have normalcy, but you can also change it up and use a point, which is what we're going to do right now. I'll play some heavier kind of single note riffing, and let's get a sense of what that's like. So I am screwing up a little bit. It's partly because of my bad playing, partly because it's a little bit confusing to have this tip like this. And I'm holding the pick like this, which makes it a little bit difficult to use. Maybe with a little bit of a different angular approach it would sound better. But there is a bit of learning required to use a pick that's got 3 substantially different ends to it. So with that in mind, let's now go with the circular bit here, and with this pick, hear what it sounds like. Definitely unexpected. That pinch harmonic was not expected. I expected it to kind of flub out, just because I'm really used to pointed ends. So it seems like they're fairly dynamic and versatile picks for whatever you really need to do. I just don't know if I would want to have 1 or 2. I'd probably want to have at least a few of them. So that's kind of my take on it. Now let's go to the lightest pick and the least dense pick. This Dragon's Heart pick is definitely the lightest as well as being the least dense, and it is not my favorite. I like the heaviest and the densest just because it feels more solid in my fingers. Anyway, disregarding previously created opinion, let me play now for you and let's hear how it sounds. It definitely, again, feels like a regular pick. So my final kind of thoughts on these picks are basically it's a wonderful pick to have if you want to experiment, because you have 2 other ends. It's made out of an interesting material that definitely feels good, and for me, I do love the denser, heavier picks. It just feels more substantial in my hand, and that's just from the way that I play guitar. For those of you who are interested in playing this with an acoustic, I would say that would probably be very interesting, as well as other styles. Learning how to use this tip while having the rest of your pick between your thumb and your first fingers, definitely a challenge, I would say. It will take some time to get used to, but eventually you'll just forget about it like every other pick. So my consensus, good. Good for the price. Experiment if you like. You won't regret it because you're gonna definitely have this pick end at the end that feels normal and standard, and it doesn't have too much chirp, which is my biggest complaint with big picks most of the time, despite their substantial density and ability to kind of stay comfortably in your hand. This is a more therapeutic way to play the guitar as well, and you don't have to press so hard to get your guitar to sound more dynamically aggressive. So now, moving on from the Dragon Hot picks, I'm going to go to the Dunlop Ultex Jazz. So this little jazz pick, I mean, I get sent a lot of Jazz 3s to review, and I don't like them very much because I'm tired of small picks. I like to have a bigger kind of surface area for my thumb and my first finger, but this one's quite comfortable. It's small, it's nifty, it kind of makes you feel like you can play real fast, real quick. And Ultex is quickly becoming one of my favorite materials to just play guitar with and to practice with. There's something nice and snappy about it. This is a very thin pick. It was given to me by Mr. Chris Johnson, I believe is his name, at the NAMM show this past year, and it was pretty cool, man. Thank you again. I played on Aristides with this pick, and it felt like I was playing a kick-ass like metal machine because of the fact that it's an Aristides, but it also is because of what my right hand was translating to the guitar, and this pick definitely helped translate that. So let's finish this up with playing some heavy stuff on the Parker. I'll try and meander through single note riffing as well as regular chordal stuff, etc, etc. So it definitely requires a little bit more power from your hand, as it's a thinner pick, to kind of get that nice aggressive attack. And that's okay. You got to know the difference between between your play style and what kind of picks are the perfect for you. That's why I love reviewing picks, because I get to practice being light and heavy-handed, which sounds very violent, but I'm not a violent person. So I kind of like both things, I guess, you know what I mean? With a thinner pick, you're gonna demand a little bit more pissed off. With a thicker pick, it's definitely more therapeutic. And for those people who do have issues with their hands, big picks are wonderful. So I think, like Chirp and the other factors that go into me in reviewing these picks, I think that ultimately, if you get a thin pick, you are a metal guitar player, and it's kind of angled nicely, you're gonna get a great attack out of your riffs and out of your guitar, as long as your strings are fresh. And if you have issues with your hands, getting those big picks, the Hufschmidts, the Dragonheart, the BHL, those kinds of things, even for that brand, that's like really great, because you don't have to pick too hard, because it's already so much, you're moving so much pick instead of moving so much string, and it can be more loose in your hand that way. It's almost going to be just better technique doing that. And then of course there's those of you who are definitely interested in the aggression, and that's okay, that's great, me too, man. And that's definitely where thinner picks with more precise attack are going to come in. So that's it for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. Definitely check out Dragon's Heart picks in the description section below, as well as, well, I mean, if you don't already know about the Jim Dunlop picks, dude, do you play guitar? So yeah, anyway, that's all, YouTube. I'm gonna play myself out a bit here. I love this Parker. Let's play some stuff.